What if I told you that one of the most accurate commentaries on life in 2026 actually came out in 1999? Not a recent Netflix documentary, not a viral video essay, but a sci-fi action movie called The Matrix. When it was first released, it blew people away with its visuals, the slow-motion bullets, gravity-defying fights, and that iconic green code. It looked like the future, but perhaps what was so remarkable about The Matrix is it understood the future as well as the present, because over 25 years later, the ideas at the heart of The Matrix don't just feel relevant, they feel very, very real. This isn't just a movie that many revisit 25 years later simply for nostalgia. It's one we revisit because it keeps explaining the world that we're living in better than most things made today. So let's break down exactly why The Matrix still hits so hard in 2026 and why it might matter now more than ever. At the core of The Matrix is one of the oldest philosophical questions ever asked. What is real? In the film, reality is revealed to be a simulation, a carefully constructed illusion designed to keep humanity passive and controlled. People eat, work, fall in love, stress over bills, all inside a world that doesn't actually exist. Back in 1999, this felt rather abstract, philosophical, and almost distant. But in 2026, the idea of constructed reality isn't theoretical anymore. It's something we interact and live with every single day. Just think about your online experience. Your social media feed isn't neutral, it's curated. Algorithms decide what you see, what you don't see, what gets amplified, and what disappears. Two people can live in completely different realities while using the same platform. Then there's AI-generated content, images, videos, even voices that are indistinguishable from real ones. Deepfakes can put words into people's mouths, and entire events can be fabricated easily and convincingly. And of course, the scariest part is that for many, most of the time, they don't even realize what they're seeing isn't fully real. That's what The Matrix nailed so well. It's not just about a fake world, it's about a world where the illusion is seamless enough that questioning it feels unnecessary. In the movie, Neo senses something is wrong before he understands it, that vague feeling like something about reality isn't quite right. That's something so many people relate to today, because when everything you see is filtered, optimized, and curated, reality itself starts to feel a little unstable and a little questionable. Another reason The Matrix still resonates is its portrayal of control, not through force but through systems. Humans aren't constantly fighting back. They're not actually even aware they're imprisoned. The system works because it's invisible and people simply accept it. And that idea is just as, or if not more relevant in 2026. We live inside systems we depend on completely. Digital infrastructure, financial networks, social platforms, AI tools. We are dependent on these systems and they shape our behavior in many subtle ways. What we buy, what we believe, how we communicate, even how we think. And just like in the movie, we participate in all of this willingly. No one is forcing you to check your phone 100 times a day. No one is forcing you to stay dependent and plugged into these systems, but they're designed to do so and to keep you engaged. That's where The Matrix feels less like science fiction and more like metaphor. The machines in the film don't just control bodies, they control attention, perception, and behavior, and that's exactly how modern systems operate. It's not about chains necessarily, it's more about dependence. And The Matrix suggests something uncomfortable, that control doesn't always look like oppression, sometimes it looks like convenience. The red pill versus blue pill scene is one of the most iconic moments, and it's aged so incredibly well because it represents a choice that people still face constantly. Do you want the truth or do you want comfort? In The Matrix, taking the red pill means waking up to a harsh, painful reality. It means giving up everything familiar in exchange for truth. The blue pill means staying in the illusion, safe, comfortable, and predictable. What makes this powerful in 2026 is how often this dynamic shows up in everyday life. We have access to more information than any generation in history, but more information doesn't automatically mean more truth. It means more conflicting perspectives, more misinformation, more narratives competing for your attention, and navigating that requires effort. It's often easier to stay within a familiar viewpoint, to consume information that already enforces what you already believe, to avoid uncomfortable truths, and to stay inside a reality that feels stable. That's the blue pill. The red pill, in a modern sense, isn't a single moment. It's essentially an ongoing process. It's questioning assumptions, it's being willing to change your mind, and it's accepting uncertainty. Not everyone wants that, however, because comfort is powerful. One of the most underrated ideas in the Matrix is the concept of the residual self-image, the version of yourself that exists in the Matrix based on how you perceive yourself. Back then, that idea was fascinating. Now, it is totally 100% reality. Today, people don't just have identities within the Matrix, they have multiple identities. Your real life self, your social media persona, your professional profile, your anonymous online presence, and each of these can be carefully constructed, edited, and controlled. You no longer present just one or two versions of yourself as you might have done 25 years ago. You now present multiple versions that are more confident, more successful, and more put together than your real life experience. And these personas can be completely different altogether, depending on the platform that you're expressing yourself on. And as AI tools become more advanced, people can generate avatars, voices, even entire digital personas that blur the line between real and artificial identity. So the question the Matrix asks becomes so much more relevant. If identity is something you can design, then what does authenticity even mean? Are you the person you are offline? Are you the person you present to the world? Or are you somewhere in between? The film doesn't necessarily give a clear answer, but it forces you to think about it. It's easy to talk about The Matrix in terms of its ideas, but we also can't ignore how revolutionary it was as a film. At the time, nothing looked like it. The action scenes weren't just exciting, they were groundbreaking. Bullet time wasn't just a cool effect, it changed how filmmakers thought about movement, time, and perspective. The visual style, the green tint, the stark contrast between the real world and the Matrix created an instantly recognizable aesthetic. But what really made it groundbreaking was how it combined all of that with substance. It pulled from philosophy, cyberpunk literature, martial arts cinema, and blended it into something that felt both intellectual and mainstream. It didn't necessarily pause to explain every single concept, it simply trusted the audience to keep up. And that's something that does still feel very rare. A lot of modern films either lean heavily into spectacle or into complexity, but The Matrix balanced both in a way that felt effortless. People have spent decades trying to recreate what The Matrix achieved. You can see its influence everywhere, particularly in the first few years after its initial release. But very few films capture that same impact, and that's because The Matrix wasn't just a product of creativity, it was a product of timing. It came out at the edge of a technological shift. The internet was growing, digital life was beginning to take shape, people sensed that the world was changing, but didn't fully understand how. The Matrix tapped into that uncertainty, it gave form to fears and questions that people couldn't quite articulate at the time. Today, we're fully immersed in that digital world. So while many films try to comment on technology, they're often reacting to a reality that's already there. The Matrix felt different because it was ahead of its time. That's very, very hard to actually replicate. So why is The Matrix still so relevant in 2026? Because the world has moved so much closer to its ideas. We live in layered realities. We navigate invisible systems. We shape and reshape our identities on a daily basis, and we constantly choose between truth and comfort. The Matrix didn't just predict technology, it predicted how humans would interact with it. And maybe that's why it still feels so relevant, because it's not just asking what the world is, it's asking what you are within it. So here's the big question. If you had the choice today, Would you actually want to see reality as it truly is? Or would you rather stay inside something that feels just real enough? If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Red pill or blue pill? The choice is yours.